We're learning more about the suspect accused of setting fire to Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro's residence. 38-year-old Cody Balmer of Harrisburg was charged with multiple counts, including attempted criminal homicide, aggravated arson, burglary, and terrorism. The damage, as you are seeing there, is horrifying, especially this image. What you're seeing here shows a Hebrew prayer, which the governor and his family likely recited when celebrating the Jewish holiday of Passover just hours before. Governor Shapiro sent this message to everyone after being evacuated safely.
This type of violence is not okay. This kind of violence is becoming far too common in our society. And I don't give a damn if it's coming from one particular side or the other, directed at one particular party or another, or one particular person or another. It is not okay. And it has to stop. We have to be better than this. And we have a responsibility to all be better. If he was trying to terrorize our family, our friends, the Jewish community who joined us for a Passover Seder in that room last night, hear me on this. We celebrated our faith last night proudly, and in a few hours we will celebrate our second Seder of Passover again proudly. No one will deter me or my family or any Pennsylvanian from celebrating their faith openly and proudly.
Joining me now is the Pennsylvania Attorney General, Dave Sunday. Thank you so much for being here. I want to start with some of the new information we're getting here at CNN, that the suspect wrote multiple social media posts expressing his disdain for Joe Biden. What are you learning about this man and his potential motive?
Well, to start with, Dana, it's great to be here. Thank you for having me. And I don't know if you saw the governor's press conference. Well, I guess you did because you just played it. But my heart goes out for the governor. This is an absolutely horrific incident. It goes out to his family and everyone involved with this, and all Pennsylvanians. As the AG's office is not the lead investigator, you know, I hesitate to comment specifically on some parts of the investigation. But what I can say, it's clear that this was an act of terror in some form or fashion. And like I said, it was very, very serious, and I feel terrible for the governor.
Yeah, absolutely. And I understand that it is the DA who is in charge there, but of course you're the top prosecutor for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. So on that note, I do want to ask about the timing of this attack on the Jewish holiday of Passover. Earlier that night, Governor Shapiro tweeted a picture of his family's Seder. Do you believe, based on what you are being told, that they're learning about the suspect, that anti-Semitism played a role here?
Well, I don't want to get ahead of the lead investigators, but what I can say is that we often draw facts from what we see around us, and it's clear that people are drawing that inference. And what I can say very simply is, if that is the case, it's reprehensible. I mean, there is no place in our society for hate-filled violence, really for violence at all, but there's no place for anything that would resemble what we see here. My hope is that anti-Semitism does not play a role, but if it does, it's reprehensible, and anyone that would do that, they need to be held accountable to the fullest extent of the law.
And we're also getting new information, forgive me, while we're talking, from my colleagues, saying that this suspect who was arrested was in the past separately charged for assaulting members of his own family, that happened 2 years ago after he attempted suicide. Obviously, this is a very unstable individual.
So, Dana, thanks for bringing that up. I can tell you, and not with regard to this specific case, but as a career prosecutor, I think this is an opportunity for us to look at mental health and the role of mental health in our society, and in particular, the lack of access to treatment for mental health care. I mean, I'm a career prosecutor. I was a district attorney long before I became an attorney general. And the role of mental health was just a critical part of what we saw with crime. A lot of the worst crimes and most violent crimes we've seen in society, if you forensically walk sort of back through that person's life, you'll find at some point they may have touched the criminal justice system with a mental health component. And again, I don't want to get ahead of the facts here with the lead investigators, but if that is the case, I think this is an opportunity for us to have a very serious discussion about this issue and crime.
Now, I did listen to the press conference from Governor Shapiro yesterday, and he was very careful to praise Pennsylvania State Police. But it goes without saying, it's obvious, this was a significant security failure. What are you learning about that, about the actual breach?
Well, at this point in the investigation, and clearly this is important from, again, I'm going to view this through the lens of a prosecutor and being the chief law enforcement officer, and every resource has to clearly go into identifying the facts of this case. What happened, how it happened, and making sure that we have the correct facts as the Commonwealth and as in particular the district attorney in this case moves forward. And I say that very simply, that there will certainly be a time to look at how this happened, but it's critical at this point in an investigation that the investigators look specifically to the facts to determine what happened in this case with regard to criminal culpability. And like I said, there will certainly be time to have those discussions, but the reality, and I want to make this very clear, you know, I've worked with the Pennsylvania State Police for many, many, many years, and I will tell you that they are one of the most professional, experienced, and quality law enforcement organizations that exist. And so I'm grateful for all the work that they did as soon as this happened to identify the perpetrator. And I can tell you right now that there will be a time for sort of an after-action type of report. But the reality is right now everything goes to investigating this defendant and making sure that the Commonwealth is in a position to successfully prosecute him.
Yeah, and I understand that, but as a statewide elected official, you've got to be concerned that there was such a breach in security with somebody who is not only high profile because he is the governor of Pennsylvania, but he's got a big national profile.
Right. Dan, again, thanks for bringing that up. I mean, it's clearly a concern. And I'm going to tell you right now, as an elected official myself, I have a family, I have a young son. Safety is something that's on all of our minds 24 hours a day. It's very scary when violence, especially of a political nature, occurs. I mean, the outcome, the impact is far greater than that one person who was a target. It chills public discourse. It puts people in a position where they're fearful. And so, very simply, of course, it's very, very concerning that this individual was able to get into the governor's mansion in a manner that was outlined in the affidavit of probable cause. Obviously, the governor, I mean, my heart goes out to him and his family with the trauma that I'm sure exists as a result of being victims of a case like this. And so, I mean, of course, it's very frightening, in fact, that someone was able to do that.
Pennsylvania Attorney General, by the way, a position that Josh Shapiro had before he became governor. Dave Sunday, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.